Hey, what's up? It's Joe. Welcome to my 5 Minute Friday for August 16th. So, yeah, just been spending the week getting caught up on massive backlog of tasks, been writing, working on the book. So, that's awesome. The course I've been working on, there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel on that. So, still work to be done, but yeah, feeling good about it. I think the launch date will probably be sometime in September now. But anyway, looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a pretty epic course. We'll see how people respond to it. So, things in my mind this week. I wrote a post on LinkedIn the other day about solving one-to-one versus one-to-many problems, and I want to unpack what that means a bit. It's been something that's been on my mind, not just this week or even months, but probably over the last year, especially. And so, what's a one-to-one problem, right? And or solution. And when we talk about one to one, that typically means, it could be a good example might be you working at a job where it's you and an employer. It's a one to one relationship. Or if you're a consultant, right? You're hired by a company to help them. That's one to one. Consulting, you could argue, could be one to many because you could definitely be one consultant with many clients, but ultimately you're still serving the needs of one client at a time. You solving many problems for many clients doesn't help any particular client. Your only job is to solve the problems for each client. So I do view that as one to one, where it's you solving a client's needs. So anyway, you can certainly have a lot of impact in a one to one situation. There's people who do awesome work at a 9 to 5 job. And I mean, there's people who do great work, as consultants. I'm just laying these out as two examples. Obviously, there's other ways you could do one-to-one work. I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from a cold. Like, it completely crashed my system over the weekend, so I'm still recovering from just nasty congestion. So if you hear me coughing, that's why. Anyway, but yeah, so one-to-one, that seems to be the norm, right? I mean, most people, when they go work, they get a job somewhere and they do that job. The employer pays them money, and that's that, right? But especially when I first started podcasting, this was many years ago. I felt like and there's also blog writing. I've been writing blogs since the 2000s, on and off. If you can find them on Internet Archive, go for it. But in both those situations, I felt like that was a one to many where I could write once and there's distributions potentially endless. So I always liked that approach, right? Where you could write a blog post and many people would read it. You could make a podcast, and many people would listen to it. And what I realized is, for me, it was about sticking with it and doing it consistently over time, right? So that's writing, that's podcasting. I guess it's books and being on other people's podcasts, but just I think with getting out there and trying to stay in the one-to-many zone as much as possible, that opened up a lot of opportunities where, nowadays I'm really questioning whether I should continue doing one-to-one type work, i.e. consulting or similar stuff, right? So, because I think if you get to a certain point where you do have an audience, where you do have a platform, whatever that means, but you have, I guess, a group of people that are receptive to what you have to say and benefit from that and learn from that, I think you should really consider leaning into that pretty hard. I think I'm noticing there's a lot of benefits in that it creates a feedback loop. One to many means, I think, combinatorially, you just open up the doors to many more opportunities as you stay in the one to many world. If you're in one to one, that's great, but your impact is really limited to that sphere. I'm not saying you couldn't do both. I mean, there's been plenty of people who are successful having a job and also doing content and books and videos and all that kind of stuff. But definitely consider your options. What do you want to do? I was on a podcast, the other day, and we're talking about how one of the biggest impediments to people's career advancement is the fact that nobody knows them. So that might be people within your organization who aren't aware of the work you're doing, right? And I guess in that case, it is kind of a micro one to many problem where you want to reach as many people within your organization as possible. that's the same problem you have, reaching the outside world, where you start off and nobody knows who you are, and over time, you do develop an audience, and people ideally want to hear what you have to say and write and so forth. So, if a one to many suits your types of goals and ambitions, I would say definitely lean hard into it. I think there's a lot of advantages to that. Like I said, it's opened up a lot of doors for me. Obviously, writing Fundamentals of Data Engineering with Matt Housley opened up a ton of doors that neither of us, I think, would have considered otherwise, or even was known was possible. But it's allowed us the opportunity to, speak around the world and, teach and impact a lot of people that we just couldn't, right? If we didn't have the platform we did and wrote the book we did in a way that was, received the way it was. And so, I definitely encourage you to understand, like, where do you want to be effective? Do you want to be effective in a one-to-one setting or one-to-many or both, right? So, but don't just limit yourself to one-to-one. I think that a lot of people limit themselves to this thinking that, it's just, they just need to hunker down on my job and, and the rest will take care of itself. I can assure you that in today's job market, that is not, I would say, the only advice you should be considering. That was advice that probably worked a couple decades ago, when there was a lot more loyalty to employees and vice versa. But that social contract's been broken. It broke a long time ago. And so, I would say a good way to increase the odds of your success is to, start getting yourself out there, right? Again, I think it's a controversial topic, but, the visibility of your achievements and the impact of your career is solely in your hands. Nobody else is going to do it for you. So I found for myself that by thinking of things as a one-to-many type of a problem and solution, that I've been able to, I think, level up, my own, network and career prospects and so forth. But that's me, right? And you're you, and so these aren't the same things. I.e., you got to figure out what's going to work for you. But hopefully, if this hasn't occurred to you, hopefully it opens your eyes to just the possibilities out there. It's a big world, and there's a lot of people out there who probably want to hear what you have to say, right? And want to read what you wrote and so forth. So don't just limit yourself in thinking that, the one-to-one is the only thing you could be doing. There's a massive world out there, and I'm almost certain that, given time and consistency and so forth, you can reach a great audience too, whether that's in your company or whether that's outside your company or both, right? So anyway, best of luck to you in whatever you do. I'm going to go hit the climbing gym right now and get a bunch of work done. So anyway, hope you have a great weekend and take care. Bye-bye.